Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. He was a Canadian wide receiver who cut his teeth in the NFL before spending 11 seasons in the CFL. Ryan Thelwell, Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! All right, he was born in Jamaica at Montego Bay, raised in London, Ontario. He was a wide receiver, starred at the University of Minnesota for the Golden Gophers for 4 years, named All Big Ten, drafted CFL, 9th overall by the BC Lions in 1998, drafted in the NFL by the San Francisco 49ers the same year, played 4 years in the NFL for the Chargers, Steelers, Seahawks, Saints, and Broncos, played 11 seasons in the CFL for the Lions and the Stampeders. He was a two-time All-Star, three-time Grey Cup champion, member of the London Sports Hall of Fame, and now he's National Director of Business Development for DKI Canada. Welcome to the program, Ryan Thelwell. Great to have you here, Ryan.
Gosh, that's a great intro. I feel old right now. Wow. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
Unfortunately, that happens to us, but we don't forget about you, brother. You got lots of good things to talk about here for you today. We want to begin way back at the beginning. What was it that made your parents decide to move from Jamaica to Canada, first of all?
So, you know what? That's a great question. So we moved from Jamaica to London, Ontario back in the mid-'70s. And that's when they had opened up immigration. They were trying to bring people in. And there was a large group of Jamaicans that actually made the trip around that time. And so for my parents, it was more just to give us a better life. And it was interesting. My mom and dad actually came out. They were in London for about 2 years before they brought myself and my siblings over. So they really sacrificed. You talk to my mom about it. My mom said it was probably the toughest part of her life, not having her kids. And we were little. Like I was around 3, 4. At the time, I've got a younger sister who was a newborn. So she left us with our grandparents. My father and her left, scrounged to get an apartment, save money to bring us over. And it's interesting. I always tell people that, we didn't have a lot growing up, but my parents made us feel like we had everything. So I have the utmost respect for their journey. And, I look at it as I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So I owe everything to them.
Hey, Ryan, quick question, Ryan. Sorry, Joe. What was the weather like? The culture shock of the weather?
It's funny. I don't remember a lot about that journey, like landing in Toronto, but I just remember it was in the middle of a snowstorm and we had never seen snow before. And so I can tell you the first year was really tough for us as kids getting adjusted just because, again, we never wore jackets before. We're used to wearing our shorts and short sleeves. And so to this day, again, I don't remember a lot about us making that transition, but I do remember seeing snow for the first time.
Well, I guess when you come over that early in your life, you'll get acclimatized pretty quickly. But it can get pretty cold in London. You get pretty cold in anywhere in Canada. But so that would be a big trend, big difference between Canada and Jamaica, no doubt about that. But, you talked about the sacrifice your parents made. And in the sacrifice, to get to where you are today, all that stuff played into it, didn't it? And so here you are in London, Ontario. You played several sports at London Catholic High School. What drew you to football?
I always loved football, the game. My dad was a New York Giants fan, so we watched a lot of it as kids growing up. We would follow the NFL, but that wasn't my first love. A lot of people don't know this, but my first love was basketball. And so from the time I was in the 7th grade, I wanted to play in the NBA. And that was my sport. Like I actually went and played at a pretty high level through high school. I was on the Ontario provincial team for 2 years. So I played with guys that you guys might know. I played, like Sherman Hamilton was on our team.
Right.
I remember playing with Rowan Barrett. He was there. So played at a very high level. Wanted to go to Syracuse, wanted to go play for the New York Knicks. That was my team. Really pushed myself, really worked hard. I think the drive that I had to be a great basketball player transitioned over to football once I did make the switch. But yeah, football wasn't on the radar for me. I had no goals, no aspirations of playing in the NFL or CFL. It was to play basketball.
Yeah, it would have been fun to follow Leah Routens at Syracuse. But so your heart was in basketball at that particular time. But there must have been something about football that said, this is fun. I like this. And what was that?
Do you know, I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be honest with you. When I made the transition, it was the girls. I know at my high school, football was the sport. We had one of the top football teams in the country. They had gone up to that point 7 years without losing a game. So it was football at Catholic Central High School. And the football players got all the girls. And so when I decided to make the transition, I thought maybe it would help me. So you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. It got me to where I was today, but that wasn't my initial goal. It was for the ladies. So
right. Well, it's good motivation. Whatever motivates you, it's good. Whatever works. Yeah. And so you start playing football, and obviously you're very good at it because you got end up getting a scholarship and everything else. But was there any particular person or any specific thing that really got you going over at Catholic high school?
Yeah. So this is an interesting story. So I actually didn't start playing football till my last year in high school. And I was playing safety, and like I was mentioning, we had a really good team. Our coaches at that time were doing a lot of things that high school coaches weren't doing back then. Like they would travel down to the States to attend coaching clinics. They would travel to, like, say, a TCU, just different programs throughout the southern United States. So just for reference, so my high school coaches was Greg Marshall, who's now at Western.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Paul Gleason, who's at Western, and they've been there. And you know the success that program has had over the years. And so that's what we had in high school coming through. And so it was more, again, it wasn't my initial thought to get a scholarship, but I would say about halfway through the season, Coach Gleason came up to me and said, "Hey, like you're a pretty good player. If you really push yourself, we do think that there's an opportunity for you to go down south." I give them all of the credit because, again, back in those days, there wasn't a lot of kids going down to the States. Again, my parents being from Jamaica, they didn't really know the process to get down there. We didn't have Instagram and all these things that allow you to showcase yourself where coaches can see you. So our coaches put together a highlight tape for me. They reached out to their contacts down in the States. And there was one situation that really inspired me. And you'll find this funny. So there was a scout from Northern Illinois University that came up to London to visit our high school because we had a lot of good players that were coming through. And I'd already gone home for the day, and I got a call from Coach Gleason just saying, "Hey, there's a scout that's here from Northern Illinois. He'd love to meet you." And so my brother and I didn't have my license at the time. He drove me back down to the school, and I walk in to meet this guy, and he gives me the once over, like just an eyeball up and down.
Yeah.
I wasn't very big as a kid. I was tall, but I wasn't very. I didn't have much weight to me. And he goes, "Ryan, I don't know if this kid can play." And his exact words were, "I've seen bigger wings on a bucket of chicken." Just
oh my God.
Talking to my size.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home with my brother, and I was so angry that this guy who had never seen me play, again, we didn't have access to like YouTube and all that stuff. Everything was on the not DVDs, VHS tapes.
Sure. Yeah.
I was so pissed that this guy who had never seen me play would say this about me. And my mindset, and my brother to this day, we joke about it. I said, "I'll show him." And then that's when it clicked for me. And it was just about proving people wrong. And then that's when I actually started taking it seriously and pushing myself to go play down south.
So now it's more time in the weight room, bulking up a little bit, making sure that, working on, the things you already had is speed and a lot of other ability. So how did you go from that, the scout from Northern Illinois telling you you're too lanky, to be polite, to getting the scholarship at University of Minnesota?
So again, I attribute it to my high school coaches. I would go and do these different work or camps that were set up to get eyeballs on you down in the States. Like I would travel to Kitchener, a couple other regional camps. Our coaches, like I had mentioned previously, they would travel down to the States to do coaching clinics. So they had relationships with coaches down south. And they reached out to one of their contacts who was at TCU at the time, but the whole staff had made the move to the University of Minnesota. And they said, "Hey, we've got this kid. We think that he's talented. You should come up and take a look and just give us your thoughts." And so we were going into the playoffs. We were undefeated that year. We're going into the playoffs. We're playing another school that was undefeated, and they sent a scout. One of their I believe he was the O-line coach. He came up to watch the game, played the game, didn't hear anything. Went into school the next morning. They called me into the coach's office, and this gentleman was there, and he said, "Yeah, we'd like to offer you a scholarship to the University of Minnesota." Wow. And so, it was just one of those where, again, we went from not even wanting to play football. This was in a span of a year. To getting a scholarship offer. And then I actually started getting offers through the other camps that I was doing. So I got an offer from the University of Hawaii. I had Iowa State wanted to fly me out. So I flew out to Iowa State to do a visit. But my heart was set on Minnesota just because it was in the Big Ten. They played Michigan State, which was again a 2-hour drive from my family and friends to come up to watch a game. And back then, the Big Ten was probably one of the premier conferences in the U.S. So I got a chance to play against the best players. So my heart was set on University of Minnesota.
Well, I guess that with the TCU connections moving to Minnesota, everything kind of seemed to work out really well for you and the school. And awesome how your Coach Gleason and others were able to promote you and get you pointed in the right direction and ultimately and it proved to be a good choice for you. You had 4 good seasons with the Golden Gophers. You were all Big Ten, second team All-Star. What were the big takeaways for you with the Golden Gophers?
Well, even my journey down to Minnesota, it was interesting. So, because when I first got down there, it was a challenge. I know my first, because we would get there in mid-August, so before school started, so there was no students there. I didn't like it. I'm not to be honest with you. I got down there. I hadn't been playing football for that long, so I didn't really understand the game to that level. Again, it's a whole other beast down in the States, right? And I struggled. My first 2 weeks of training camp. And the way that they had it set up, say we had 30 guys, like new kids on scholarship, we had our own locker room. And then the upperclassmen had the nice locker rooms with the everything's first class. I think they gave me the number 46. That's how much they thought of me, right? And so it was a real struggle. We started. I'll just take a step back. I remember calling my mom and just telling my mom. And again, I appreciate my parents to the moon. Just because if it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be here to where I'm at right now. But I told my mom I wanted to come home. I just wasn't fitting in. Like you had guys from Texas, guys from Florida, guys from California that had been playing the game their entire lives. They all kind of knew each other. they would kind of get on me, and not too much tease, but they're like, "Who's this kid from Canada? Like you talk funny. Like it's gonna sound silly, but like you talk white." And I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I grew up in London, Ontario. I went to a Catholic school. It was, there might have been 4 African Americans, myself, my brother, my sister, another kid. Right? We were like a product of our environment, so it was a tough adjustment. But the one thing that I think transcends it is if you can play, they quickly forget that all kind of gets washed aside. And so we were getting ready to play Penn State. So now we were running scout team. We were giving them a look. Our starting offense, the freshmen were giving our defense a look. We were running Penn State offense. And so now it wasn't really knowing the game. It was more reading the cards. And then you can just play. It's just being reactive. And so, Joe, I remember like it was yesterday, I would line up as a wide receiver. I had to run a deep post route, and I caught a touchdown. It would have been like a 50-yard touchdown. And the defensive coordinator just loses it. Like, you can't let him get by you. You'll run it again. Run it, catch it. I'll catch a touchdown. Like if it would have been a game, I would have had over 200 yards. I remember like it was yesterday. And it turns out the guy that I was going against was like a preseason first team all Big Ten corner. Right. Wow. And so first game we played Penn State. I didn't get in, but to me it was an amazing experience. Joe Paterno. I think this would have been 94. I think they would have been national champs. Wow. They had a really good team. We got our butts handed to us, but it was cool. We had 56,000 people at the Metrodome. And so the next week we came in, we were getting ready to play San Diego State, Marshall Falk. And I go into my locker. So this is the freshman locker room. I go in there and my stuff isn't there. And so I'm thinking, are they cutting me? Like, are they getting rid of me? And, I was a shy kid. And so I built up the courage to go talk to the trainer. And I was like, hey, like my stuff isn't here. Like, what's going on? He goes, we moved your stuff to the other locker room, the upperclassmen locker room. And the coaches want you to go out and spend some time with the offense. So I'm not going to be running scout team. I'm going to be with our offense, like learning the playbook. And they'd given me the number 4 now. So they had, so that week I just spent a lot of time just standing, learning the offense, watching the starting offense. They actually put me in for a couple of plays in practice. And so we're getting ready to play San Diego State. I didn't think I was going to play, so I had my shoulder pads on, but I didn't bring my helmet out. I didn't have my hip and kidney pads on. And so I'm standing on the sidelines in the game, and they're like, okay, Thelwell, you're going to go for the next. And I was like, oh guys, I don't have my stuff. I don't think I've ever been yelled at like I got yelled at. And so they threw me into the game, and I didn't get many passes thrown at me, but I had 3 catches for, let's say, like maybe 40 yards, so it wasn't much. I just remember calling my dad, and I was just so happy. I was like, Dad, like I got in the game. I caught a couple passes. Like it was such a great experience. Our next game was homecoming. And the way it worked down there was they had up to 3 games to have the true freshmen play. And then they decide whether or not they're going to redshirt them and let them play the entire year. And they would lose that first year eligibility, if that makes sense. And so it was homecoming. I go in to practice. We're having our team meeting, and they're like, okay, Ryan, you're going to start this game. Okay, cool. The very first play, Ryan, we're throwing a go route. That's it. Like, we're going to throw, no matter what the situation is, we're going to throw you a go route. And so, Joe, I'm telling you, Joe, the anxiety, because now I'm thinking about it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like no matter what happens, they're going to throw the ball. I'm just not reacting. And so that whole week I couldn't sleep. So we get into the game. We're playing Northwestern. They kick off. It's a touchback. We get the ball on the 20. To be honest with you, my eyes were probably closed during the play. I just remember running, and I catch the ball. I shake the guy off of me, and I run in for like an 80-yard touchdown, the very first play of the game. And so that game I ended up with, I think it was like 11 catches for like 177 yards. And they decided, hey, we're not going to redshirt you. You're going to play as a true freshman. which was a pretty cool experience. I think I was a honorable mention as a Big Ten, like on the all freshman team, which was pretty cool. And I just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy. What a debut. Oh my God. Homecoming game. Oh God.
Yeah.
That's so perfect. Eh? Yeah.
Was
the family there to witness it or anything like that? Or was
no. So Joe, you want to hear the crazy thing? My mom and dad never watched me play. My dad saw me play basketball once in high school and saw me play football once in high school. And it wasn't because they didn't want to. It was just, we're immigrant family. They worked factory jobs. It just they didn't have time to. So it's not that they didn't care. And so it wasn't until my second year when I was a sophomore, they made the trip out to Minnesota to watch a game for the first time. So it was a pretty cool experience. Yeah. Yeah.
First time you get to see you play, you're playing, second year for the Golden Gophers, Big Ten, first string. This is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. A pretty cool experience. Yes.
So 4 good years at Minnesota. You're drafted by the 49ers, but first you went through the NFL Combine. Tell us about that experience.
Yes. Absolutely amazing. It was pretty surreal. Like things have changed since my day. Like now you can go on the NFL Network and you can watch it and you can kind of see the process. But going in, it was pretty cool. Like they basically invited, it would have been the top 30 receivers in the country. So it was sorted by positions and they invite the top 30. You would go in, you would do a physical. So each team that was interested in you would go through, do a physical. They would know, and they knew everything about me from the time I was a young kid to my last year in Minnesota. They knew every injury, everything that I had. You would sit down and do an interview with the teams that were interested in you. So picture a job interview, but you're going in, it's at a hotel. You've got maybe 10, 12 staff from GMs all the way down to coaches. They're asking you questions similar to your physicals. Like they knew everything about my history. And I didn't get in trouble, right? I wasn't a troublemaker, but they would say, hey, like, tell us about what happened here. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, how did you guys know about that?
But
they're hiring somebody. They want to make sure that they've got good character and it's a good fit. And so I would do the interviews with the team, and then they had a session where it was like an event room that they had set up with a stage. All the coaches, the GMs, they were all in this room. They would bring us up one at a time. Like we would be in our underwear. We'd have like a little number stapled to us. And they would, okay, face straight ahead, turn to your right, turn to your left, stretch your arms out. They do measurements. The gentleman would read out the measurements for your reach, your hand size, just to get the measurables. Wow. And then they would take it down. So it was like a 3-4 day process. And then the last day would be on the field testing. And so you would go through, you would run your 40s, which was pretty cool. We did it. It was still held in Indianapolis at the time.
Yeah.
So the first day would be the 40s, and then the second day would be the drills, position drills. So it was cool. Like I did fairly well. My 40 time, I believe I ran it was a 4.49, 4.53 electronics. So I was kind of in the middle of the pack. But overall, my testing was fairly well. So it was good. It was a great experience.
So coming out of that, the 49ers draft you. Did you feel you got a good shot with the 49ers? Did you feel they give you a fair shot there?
No. So so Dwight Clark I got the call from Dwight Clark when I got drafted. I was back in London, which was pretty cool. I got my buddies there. One of the local news stations was there. So I got the call from Dwight Clark. When I reported, they pretty much told me that my chances of making the team was going to be it's going to be tough because they were stacked. At the time, they had Jerry Rice, who was just coming off of a knee surgery. They had a gentleman by the name of Jake. Oh, he was okay. He wasn't
He's
bad, right? I think I was better than him, but hey, they had a kid by the name of JJ Stokes, who they had drafted in the second round or might have even been the first round the year prior. They had another kid. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was a kid from Stanford who was amazing. And they had another guy by the name of Tyrell Owens, who they had just come in the year before, right? Who knew?
Wow.
Right? So
yeah.
I was pretty much told that if I was going to make the team, it would be on a practice roster. It was going to be tough, but you just take it. You take the opportunity as is, and I just went with it.
Well, you did get an opportunity to prove yourself with San Diego. Was that a better fit for you, the Chargers?
It was. So what I quickly learned, Joe, and I'm learning it in life, it's all about who you know. And so when I was with San Francisco, we had a combined practice with the Chargers. So we practiced with them that entire week, and then we actually played them that weekend in an exhibition game. And so they had a chance to see me. Once I got cut, I flew down. They flew me down. I did a workout for San Diego. They offered me a spot on the practice roster. I told them I was going to hold off because I also had invites for workouts with the Oakland Raiders. So I flew out to Oakland, had a great workout with them. Spent about 3 hours with John Gruden. Like after the workout, they offered me a spot on the practice roster. I flew out to Washington. I did a workout for them the next day. Didn't go so well. It wasn't one of my better workouts. Nothing came from that. And it was Tampa Bay offered me a spot on the practice roster without working out, just because I knew somebody from my time at the University of Minnesota. And so, after having a conversation with my agent, we felt like San Diego would give us the best opportunity to play. And so I signed in San Diego.
Well, with the Chargers, you get a chance to make your NFL debut. You caught passes from Craig Wellahan, of course, Ryan Leaf.
Yes.
Leaf was incredibly highly touted. Why do you think he didn't make it? What was it? What held Ryan Leaf back? Because he had so much talent.
Joe, I'm going to be straight honest with you. He wasn't a very good teammate. He was a jerk. And I don't know. And I see him now, and I see, I know he went through a tough time, went through rehab. I get to, watching him on ESPN, and we're actually connected on Twitter, and I'm proud of the changes that he's made. But at that time, he wasn't a very good teammate. I saw things, just the way he treated people outside of the complex. I just felt like he had a big head, right? Like you come out, you're the second pick overall, everybody's throwing stuff at your feet. And he just wasn't very humble. Like I believe that if you're humble, you're willing to learn. You look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning probably had a brutal year, his first year, but he was a good character, right? I feel like if you got good character, you treat people well, you, again, humble yourself. People are willing to give you an opportunity if things don't go so well. And if you don't, they're short with you. They're going to give him every opportunity because he was a second pick overall. But it just, I don't think that, I just don't think that his attitude just didn't help him. And I feel like that's what got him out of the league really quickly.
Yeah, the ego can be a tough thing to conquer, right? It can be brutal. And that sounds like it was the case for him. So who in your NFL stint did impress you? Who were you most impressed by when you were down south?
It's got to be Tyrell Owens. I really enjoyed my time with him. Because you got to remember, back in '98, like Tyrell Owens wasn't a star. I believe he had his breakout year that year in 1998, but he was just a good teammate. Like the older guys, the veterans, wouldn't give us the time of day. Tyrell Owens wasn't that guy. Like we practiced in Santa Clara. He would pick guys like us, the freshmen up, or I would say freshmen, rookies up. I know we went out in San Jose with him a couple of times. Jerry Weiss wasn't practicing at the time. So Tyrell Owens kind of fell into that leadership role with us. And I just watched him, the way that he pushed himself in the weight room, on the field. Everything was full speed. His competitiveness, it was something that you could visually learn from, but he was also very receptive to give you advice, where there are a lot of guys, and I understand this perspective. Like, they look at it as, you guys are coming in to try to steal my job, so I'm not going to help you. But Terrell Owens just that wasn't his way. He just believed, like, if we did well as a unit, to pick everybody up, we would do well overall. And he was just impressive. To this day, like, people will talk smack about him and, his character. And I'm just one to say, hey, I'm not going to base it on what I see on TV. I base it on my interactions with him. And he was a character guy, and I'll always have respect for him. I will always tell people that story about how he treated us. And yeah, he was a team first player. So it was Terrell Owens by far.
That's interesting, because, the TO side that we see, right? It's a lot of flash and that type of thing. But you see him from a different perspective. So were you able to, did you take some of the traits that you learned from TO to Canada when you came to the CFL?
Yes. And it was a tough grind. Even what I learned from TO, I took with me to San Diego. Because when we went, like, I was on the practice roster. And so, again, when you're on the practice roster, you're running scout teams. You do everything the team does. You just don't play on game day. You're standing on the sidelines, and then you don't travel with the team. And so what I would do is, so whatever team we were playing, so for example, we were playing Buffalo the very first game, I took Eric Moles. I took his jersey because I knew that he got the majority of the balls because he was the main receiver. And I would run my ass off. Like, I would work the guys. I was going against our starting defense. And then what I would do when I was done, I would stay after. I would run routes with Craig Wheelahan. And then I would, because our offense coordinator at the time was, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'm drawing a blank, and I apologize.
Okay.
Anyways, I would stay after with the quarterbacks and catch extra balls for them. And so, when our coach got fired, it would have been week 10. Our offense coordinator took over as the intern head coach. And so, funny enough, when I came in for our first game that week, there was a note in my locker to go see coach. And that's usually not a good thing when coach wants to see you. So I went up to go see him, and he was just like, "Look, Ryan," he goes, "I feel like you deserve an opportunity. You've worked your excuse my language, you worked your ass off." He saw it firsthand because I would spend time with him after practice. And he goes, "We actually got, what's the word? I guess our defensive guys came up and said, 'Hey, you should give this guy a chance.'" Because I would be mostly spending time and working with them. And so they vouched for me as well. And so they activated me. So I wasn't on the practice roster anymore. I got moved to the active roster. And so that was very satisfying for me, knowing that the hard work that I put in paid off. They recognized it. And then once the opportunity came, they gave me an opportunity to move up. So it was good. It was well received.
So anyway, you had made a stop in Pittsburgh as well, but eventually you made it to the CFL. You came to the CFL. Were you ready at that time? Are you glad you made the move when you did?
Yes. At that time, like, I bounced around. You know what, Joe? After San Diego, I went to Seattle. I was on the practice roster, and I got cut about halfway through the season. And it wasn't due to talent; it was just numbers game. Like, I remember sitting down with their head coach, and he told me, he was like, it was Mike Holmgren, and he said, "Ryan, like, we think that, you are better than a few of the receivers that we do have, but it's just a numbers game. We paid this guy this amount. This kid here, we drafted in the second round, so we're going to give him every opportunity." And so I started bouncing around. I ended up going down to Jacksonville. I was down with the Jags for 1 week on the practice roster. We were playing the Steelers. Kevin Gilbride, who was my head coach in San Diego, he was now with the Steelers, came up to me before the game and said, "Hey, we're gonna be taking you and bringing you on our active roster." So that's how I ended up in Pittsburgh. I was there through the back end of the season, and I did well on the special teams side of things. I didn't get in offensively just because I didn't know the playbook, and it wasn't one of our best years. But I had a great wrap up, a year-end wrap up with Coach Cower, who told me that they were excited to have me back for like a full off season. I ended up going back to Seattle, getting my stuff, driving across country, and it's just the way things worked out. It was I'd only been back in Pittsburgh for about 2 weeks. Again, I get a call from Bill Cower, and he was just like, "Hey, you got to come in to see me." It's not a good thing when the coach wants to see you. Yeah, so I go in to see him. He says, "Hey, Ryan, okay, we're going to have to release you. Nothing that you've done. It's just a salary cap thing. Stick around. If you clear waivers, we will bring you back because we'll even cover your costs for like your apartment and all this stuff. Like, we just need to let you know that we're going to be releasing you. Your name's going to go over the waiver wire. And if you clear a waiver and nobody picks you up, then we'll sign you back." And so get released. I say within 15 minutes, I get a call from my agent saying that the Saints were going to pick you up. And it was, this would have been 2001. The defensive coordinator that was with the Steelers when I was there that short time got hired as the new head coach with the New Orleans Saints. So it's all about who you know.
Right.
I was actually excited about it because I was going to be there for a full off season, do a full training camp. And it wasn't something where I was coming in, 2 weeks before training camp and so it was good. I had a great off season. I had a great training camp. It came down to the last game. We were playing the Miami Dolphins, the very last game of the preseason. And that's kind of where the guys that are on the bubble get a chance to play a bit more. And I actually remember watching the news, and they said I was on the bubble, and I knew that. And I had a pretty decent game. Like, I think I had like 6 catches for like 77 yards. The very next day was the cut down day, to where once you hit a certain time, if you weren't called in to be released, then that meant they were gonna keep you. And so that deadline came and went. I was excited, Joe. I was excited. I remember calling my dad. My agent called and said, "Hey, congratulations. They haven't called you in. You made the team." I remember watching the news that night, and my name was brought up. And they said we decided to keep him because he done everything right. He had a great off season, great training camp. So we're going into the first week. We're playing Detroit. Went all the way through the first week, and I got called in on the Friday. "Okay, Ryan, we're going to have to let you go. This running back is nicked up. We're going to have to bring in another." So it wasn't anything that I did. It was just a numbers game, injury. And to be honest with you, like that was a blow to me. It really took a lot out of me just because I'd worked so hard. And I was getting released out of something that wasn't my doing. And so I ended up driving back to California. I had to just reset, kind of figure out where I wanted to go. I'd gotten drafted into the XFL at that time. So it was the LA Extreme. And so I ended up signing with the Denver Broncos, going to Denver. I was in the off season, and Joe, I could kind of see it going in the same direction, to where like I wasn't getting a lot of reps. We had a mini camp. They would put me in for running plays. I wasn't in for a lot of passing plays. And at that time, Denver had a really good team. They were pretty stacked. And so I actually went in and I was like, "Hey guys, like, if you don't really see me in the future," and I get it, I'm not one of the main guys. I said, "Just release me and I'll go play back in Canada." Because to be honest, at that time I was starting to lose my love for the game, just because I was just bouncing around so much, living out of hotels. And so they released me. I ended up signing with BC, and then off I went up to Canada. So
right, and the Lions were waiting for you because they drafted you in '98, and so they were hoping you were coming eventually, and of course you made the move finally, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to complain. It was a good decision. Yes.
Right, because ultimately you could have been spinning your wheels for a long, long time in the NFL,
Yes.
but who knows? You could have made it too. But ultimately, the move turned out great because things went very well with the Lions,
Yes.
and you ended up with your first Grey Cup title in 2006 when the Lions knocked off Montreal 25-14. Dave Dickinson was the game MVP. But how did that feel? And what was it like to play for Wally Buono? What was it like to know that you were now with a team that really wanted you?
It was so Wally, first and foremost, I consider him one of my mentors, and I learned a lot from Wally. But again, you got to remember, Wally didn't come in until 2003. So when I initially got there in 2001, I believe it was Steve Barato and then Adam Rita was there. And so Joe, I remember like going in our very first game, there was maybe 19,000 people. Like it wasn't my first couple of years there. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. It was tough. And I remember when they brought Wally in, and you could just feel a sense of excitement amongst the fan base. Like we right away went up to we sold 23,000 season tickets, and Wally came in, and he wasn't beating around the bush. Like the thing I respected about Wally is where you knew where you stood, right? Like I didn't like someone telling me like, "Hey Ryan, you're doing a great job," and then they cut you the next day. With Wally, you always knew where you stood, and he came in, and you could see the change right away with the way things were run. They brought in Dave right away, and again, Dave was coming in from the Chargers, and I know he was with the Calgary Stampeders prior to. And it even improved my game. Just getting to spend time with Dave, because we would watch film with the quarterbacks. And so Dave was probably, and again, I played with a lot of players through my time in the NFL and CFL. And Dave was probably one of the best players I've ever had a chance to play with. He was just so smart. And once we had an understanding of how he saw the game and how the defense was going to dictate where he threw the ball, because if you look at Dave's stats, like I think to this day, he's still got one of the highest passing percentages in CFL history. And we quickly learned that the defense was going to dictate where he threw the ball. So if you could have an understanding of the defense, like I would know if I was going to get the ball within my first couple of steps, because I was reading the defense, and I would turn around, because Dave he didn't have the strongest arm, but he's very accurate. And so I would turn around and the ball would already be on its way. And so it just gave me time to catch it and react, right? And so my game went from I was okay and kind of just shot up after that 2003 season, and it was just playing with Dave. That's what it was.
Yeah, and he's turned out to be a pretty good coach too. You talk about smarts, right? Yeah.
And it wasn't just Dave. Like we were stacked. Like we had G-Roy Simon. Like G-Roy and I came in the same year. Like G-Roy, I consider one of my best friends. We had Jason Claremont, like absolutely amazing. He came in the following year. We had Paris Jackson, who came in the third year. And so we were always stacked at that position. And we went from being a team in 2001 where we were kind of a 500 club and would finish third or fourth, maybe make the playoffs, get knocked out, to the top team in the West. And so we were the initial team in 2003, because if you remember, BCE went on a run to where they were like the best team in the league for probably, I would say, from 2003 through till 2008. And I was a part of that when it initially started with Wally, right? So yeah, it was pretty cool to see that transition and to get to spend some time with Wally. So it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 5 great seasons for you in BC, a couple of all-star selections, and well, what prompted the move to Calgary? How did that come about?
So after the 2006 Grey Cup, I was a free agent. So I remember going in to you got to renegotiate our contract, and they didn't sign me right away. It was one of those where, again, we were stacked at the Canadian position, not just with receivers, but like Brent Johnson. We had a lot of stud Canadian receivers. O lineman. Mm-hmm. So I went in to my, this is a funny story. I went in to renew my contract. And so I met with Neil McElvoy, who's the general manager now. So I didn't initially meet with Wally, but I had done my homework. I sat down with G. Roy Simon, and he goes, Ryan, you don't need an agent. He goes, I'll show you how to put your contract together. Yeah. So what we did was we reached out to the CFLPA, and I was able to get the contracts of each Canadian receiver. You can get it if you ask for it, you request it. So what I did was I looked at what everybody was making, and then I took the stats from 2003 to 2006. And if we were to look at stats, including playoffs, and I know you probably like roll your eyes at me, but outside of Ben Cahoon, it was Ben Cahoon and then myself, with just Canadian receivers in terms of what we were making. So I was second with regards to stats, but I was probably 10th down with regards to where we're being paid. Right. And so when I went in, I feel like numbers speak for themselves, right? You could tell me what you want to tell me. And so I remember sitting down with Neil, we began chatting, and I just slid the information. Numbers. So he looks at it. It was a pretty quick conversation. He looks at it. He goes, okay, let me talk to Wally, and then we'll bring you back in tomorrow. And so I went home. And so the next day I went in to see Wally. And again, this is why I love Wally. This is why I love Wally, and I respect Wally. You knew where you stood. He goes, look, Ryan, he goes, I honestly feel that you deserve to be paid more. You deserve it. But he goes, we just don't have the cap room right now. Like, I could pay you, you're making X right now, I can pay you Y, but I can't go outside of that because we're paying our receivers this much. But he goes, what I can do is, he goes, I can pay you Y, but you should go and see what's available in the market. He goes, I will even allow you. So this was in November. Free agency didn't start until February. He goes, I'll even give you permission to talk to teams, or even talk to teams on your behalf, which was pretty cool, right? He didn't have to do that. And so it's funny. So the very next day, and I'm not going to name names, the very next day I get a call from a team out in Ontario, and they weren't very good. Oh,
right.
Hello?
No, I'm still here. Yeah.
I just got to.
You're good.
Oh, there you are. Sorry about that. They weren't very good. And so
Ontario chatting was very good. Yeah.
Yes. So they didn't. So I'm chatting with the GM. I'm not going to name names, but I'll leave it at that. So there's not many to choose from. So and so I'm chatting with the GM, and he was a new GM, and he goes, "Well, what do you think you're looking for?" And I said, "Why?" And he basically laughed in my face, and he said, "You think you deserve this?" Like, basically laughed in my face. And Joe, I'm a pretty easy guy. You ask anybody that knows me, I'm not. I'm pretty easy. And so he gave me a number, and I was just like, well, I could go back to BC and make the same amount of money. And we just came off of a Grey Cup, right? Like, why would I move to a team that finished last and take the same amount of money? It just didn't. I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I straight up said that to him, actually. And we didn't end the call on good terms. Let me leave it that way. And so February came around, and around free agency, I did bring on an agent to kind of help me, because again, me talking to Wally is one thing, but to chat with the other TMs, so I brought on an agent, and the things started moving pretty fast. So Calgary was the first team that had reached out to me. To come to find out, and I knew because Dave Dickinson called me, and he said, "Hey, Ted Heller, who's the owner of the team," he said, called me and asked me about you, and they're going to want you, right? And so they reached out, and they offered me a pretty good contract. So funny enough, the team that had reached out to me back in November called me. Okay, hey, we know that like Calgary offered you this. We want to offer you this. It was more, but offer. Straight up turned around and said, no. I said, you know what? I know my worth. Chance. If you thought I was worth that, then why we should have just had that conversation back in November. I get you got to play the game, but I'd rather take less to play in Calgary than go out. Just from that interaction, from that one conversation with him. And so I ended up signing in Calgary. So off to Calgary in 2007. And that's how I got to Calgary.
Yeah, well, that turned out once again to be a good move for you, Ryan, which you had a few of those. So we have some game action with you from the Stampeders. This is against Toronto. Veteran quarterback Henry Burris, your buddy pump fake, and he's got you wide open for an easy 32-yard touchdown, one of 39 touchdown catches you made in your career. Do you remember them all?
No. You know, the crazy thing is, Joe, and I joke about this to like guys that I'll coach. I couldn't tell you anything about the touchdowns or like what happened in Grey Cup games, but I remember the drops. It's funny. It's a mental. It's silly. The mental thing about athletes. I remember the drops in certain situations. But touchdowns, no, no. Don't remember a lot of them.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned. I mean, I did quite a bit of boxing in my career, my time, and I remember the losses. You know, that those are ones that stick out. That
they stick with you, right?
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah,
but so here's another one. Now this might be in the same season. Not sure. It's Burris again, a quarterback, of course, and kind of looks like a replay. The pump that he fires deep. You had to come make a little adjustment for this one, but another touchdown that turned out to be a deadly combo. You and Henry Burris.
I loved, and to this day, I consider Henry one of my best friends. We talk quite a bit. He was actually up here a couple of months ago for his 50th. We celebrated that with him. I thank Henry not just for my time spent together on the field, but more so for what he taught me or how to be off the field. I know a lot of guys as football players, we think we're going to play forever and we don't think about life after football. One of the reasons I wanted to go to Calgary at the time was because oil and gas, it was booming. I know a lot of guys were working outside of football, and I was getting old about life after football. But Henry really opened my eyes as to what it's going to take to incorporate myself into that corporate world. Networking, like putting myself out there. It's not going to come to me. I've got to go get it. And Henry really showed me the way to do that. And so and to this day, he knows it. I tell him I'm appreciative. I feel like I've got a chance to play with some of the best players to ever play the game, like a Geroy Simon, Dave Dickinson, Henry Burris. Nick Lewis was my best man at my wedding. So I've got a chance to meet those guys, and they're my brothers and my family. But Henry, it was for what he taught me off the field.
One more touchdown to show you here. This is against Montreal. Burris put a little more steam on this one. You had great hands, but you were also really renowned for your blocking capabilities. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's, we're receivers. We want all the flash. We want all the glory, right? We want the cameras on us. But I always tell people, or I tell kids when I coach, I say, football is the ultimate team sport. And if we're going to be successful as a unit, these long 50-yard runs with these running backs, unless we're blocking downfield, it's never gonna happen. And so I always took pride in that. Was I perfect? No, but I'll tell you what, I wasn't going to be the guy that just kind of stood and watched. And to me, it's what are you doing when the ball's not coming to you, when people aren't watching you? You got to take the good with the bad, and I always took pride in it. I'm sure if you ask guys that I played with, I think that's why I stuck around for so long. I wasn't always the best, but I was pretty consistent, and it was about contributing to the team and doing what I could to help the team. Like, for example, when I was with the Calgary Stampeders, I knew every single receiver position across the board. So if somebody got hurt, they would just fill me in. And I feel like that made me invaluable. And we had injuries, like, Kenyon Rambo tore his Achilles. They put me in. I started playing that short side. It kind of helped me stick around a little bit longer because I could add more to the game. It wasn't just, learning my one position. I knew what the running backs had to do. Right. And so it's just one of those things where the more you you contributed to the team. I think it kind of helped with my longevity.
Well, it's an interesting coincidence, I suppose, but I think it's more than a coincidence. The fact that you came to BC, things started to turn around for the Lions. You're part of that great turnaround. You move on to Calgary, and things start clicking there with the Stampeders as well. And then in 2008, that great season culminated with the big prize, your second of 3 Grey Cups. And again, it's against Montreal. 22-14 win over the Alouettes, right in Montreal. How cool was that win?
That was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. Just going into Montreal. I don't know if you've ever seen the John Hofnagel pregame speech for that game. That was one of the greatest pregame speeches I've ever listened to, and we were ready to run through the wall. Like it's about 50,000 people there. We were in enemy territory. I think we might have been, Montreal was pretty good that year. I think they might have been favored just because they were at home. And we went in and won on the road. And it was just, I'm lost for words. I can see the smile on my face, just doing it the way that we did it. The celebration, because again, BC and Vancouver is different than Calgary, the way that football is viewed, I find. And the fans are just a little bit more passionate. And so bringing the Grey Cup home to Calgary was an absolutely amazing experience. My wife, I'm probably still in the doghouse because I was out pretty much every day that week when we got home. But it's something that I'll never forget.
Beautiful. So, you talk about the Calgary experience being a little bit different than it is in Vancouver. And one of the reasons is that rivalry with Edmonton.
Yes.
One of the greatest in the CFL, of course. And your first Labor Day clash with the Stamps, you had a huge game, a couple of touchdowns. Yes. And here's what you had to say after that contest.
Yeah, a couple touchdowns, but on a long touchdown, they failed to switch off. Did you recognize that as the play was being called, or what did you see?
I took a peek right away, and I thought to myself, "Oh, Hank, you better throw the ball," because he basically jumped down on Cope. So I knew I'd be open, and Hank could kick off, but recognized me and throwing it up there. And, this is my first classic, and it's so exciting. I'm just
I know you probably were waiting to have this kind of game this season. It must have been a long first half. Does this kickstart you in your mind? Do you think?
You know what? I think it does. It's been tough. I know it hasn't been the best of starts, but it's a long season, and it just takes one game to kind of break out of the slump. And the guys have been great. They've kind of whenever we made mistakes, they come up and let me know. It's they brought you in here. We know you can make.
So you remember those times against Edmonton, right? Yeah.
Wow. I first of all, I looked very young back then. Oh, we got to take a look at that again. Yeah. You know what? It was, I think it was summed up pretty well. Like that was in 2007. And again, I was the big free agent signing coming in. And they were stacked. They had a good receiving core. Like they had Jermaine Copeland, Hall of Famer, like Nick Lewis, Hall of Famer. You remember Mark Boerichter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mark Boerichter had just come back from the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Kenyon Rambo was there, so they had a great receiving core. So it was tough just cracking the just getting playing time, and so it's tough. Like you want to contribute, you press because again they brought me in to help the team. Up until that point, it had been a tough, not even so much tough. My stats were down compared to previous years. And so to come in, have a big game, especially on Labor Day, I think I ended up with 199 yards. I could have had one more.
Wow.
Gosh, I'm kicking myself.
Wow.
Yeah, it was 199 yards, I think 2 touchdowns. It just took a lot of pressure off of me. And I think it just allowed me to breathe. Okay, now we're on track. Let's the back half of the season, which in the CFL, everybody knows it's the most important part of the season after Labor Day. And so it just kind of allowed me to just loosen up and just play and have fun again. So
a little while after that second Grey Cup, you decided to pack it in. You decided to retire, but you're brought out of retirement by the Lions.
Yes.
What was it that brought you out of retirement?
So you know what? So just to go back, it's funny. So in 2008, they brought in, this is when, excuse me, Coach Huffnagel was brought in. And Coach Huffnagel reminds me of Wally. Like they coached the exact, you could tell they spent time together because they basically operated the same way. But I almost didn't stay in Calgary. It was interesting. Like Coach Huffnagel was cutthroat, right? He was a tough GM. And so he came in, he brought me in. And again, remember, I just moved my family from BC to Calgary. It had only been the one season. And it wasn't the best season, but I think I still ended up with almost 800 yards, right? So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And so Coach Huffnagel brought me in, and he basically said, it wasn't a conversation. It was like, you're taking a pay cut, else you can leave. And my mindset at that time was that, oh gosh, we just moved across country, or not across country, but to Calgary. Yeah. I don't want to up and move my family again. And so I said, give me the weekend. This was on a Friday. Typical coach did on a Friday late in the afternoon. Yeah. And so I remember going home and having a conversation with my wife, Joe, and it bothered me. It bothered me just the way that he came at me. It wasn't a conversation. It was almost like you're wagging your finger and yelling at me and telling me like, my way or the highway. Yeah. And so I remember having that talk with my wife, and I love my wife, Elizabeth. I remember her telling me, she's like, look, Ryan, if we have to go out east, let's go out east. He goes, you're out east, your family's out there. He goes, I know this is going to bother you, and it's just not going to make for a good year. So if it's going to make you sleep better at night, just tell him to let you go. So I went in the Monday, went into his office, and I was like, you know what, Coach, thanks for the conversation. You let me go. I'll go play out east. And to Coach Huff's credit, he goes, okay, let's just slow down. He goes, I've had a chance to chat with a couple of the coaches. They expressed the value that you brought to the team. It might not always be in stats, but there's a veteran value that you bring to the team. Let's see if we can work something out. And I respect him for that, right? And then after that, played. We went on our run. And it was funny, when I had my year-end meeting with Coach Huffnagel before we did my retirement, and I told him I was going to retire, he goes, he's glad he made the decision to keep me around because he said I was, and it meant a lot coming from him. He goes, I was one of the key contributors to the team. A lot of people don't know it, but like when we played that West Finals in 2008 to go to the Grey Cup, I think I only put 2 passes that game, but I got the game ball from the guys in the locker room, right? And which is pretty cool. And so he said he's glad that we decided to the way things worked out to have me a part of the team, and he was a big part of the run that we went on. And so decided to hang it up, and so I retired.
And then you didn't. I got a call from Wally.
Yeah. So it was crazy. It was one of those. So I was coaching with the Calgary Colts, and we made it to the finals. We went out to Saskatoon. Yeah, we made it to Saskatoon, and the Hilltops were great. We got our butts spanked. So I remember driving back, and I was with Tom Verzani, CFL Hall of Famer. Tom and I were the receiver coaches. And I love Tom. Like, Tom is the greatest. And so I'm sitting in the back seat, Tom's sitting in the front, and my phone's going off. And I was in a bad mood. We had lost. So I missed 3 phone calls from my wife. And so I call her back. I'm thinking something's wrong. And I call her back, and she goes, hey, Ryan, G-Roy wants to get in touch with you. I think BC wants you to come back. So just give G-Roy a call. So I called G-Roy, and he's like, look, he goes, Thel, Wally's going to call you. He goes, I know you haven't been doing anything. Just lie and tell him you're in the best shape of your life. Joe, I hadn't done anything. I think my beer belly was starting to come in nice. I hadn't run a route. I hadn't done anything. And so sure enough, like not more than, I'd say 15 minutes later, I get a call from Wally, and he's just like, hey, what are you up to? And I said, hey, I'm just in a car with Tom Verzani. We're driving back, and he goes, so, hey, we've got a few injuries at the Canadian position, the Canadian wide receiver position. What are your thoughts about maybe coming back to help us out? And so I was like, okay, well, I got to talk to my wife first of all, because this was a Sunday. They wanted me to come out Tuesday. I said, I've got to talk to my wife. I've got to talk, because I was working at the time. I got to talk to my boss.
Yeah.
Just let me talk to her tomorrow, and then I'll get back to you tomorrow afternoon. And so I went in, I talked to my boss, and it was funny because she goes, I was like, hey, her name was Toby. I was like, hey, Toby, can I chat with you? And she's like, what's up? And I explained what had happened. She goes,
yeah.
Are you kidding? She goes, I thought you were quitting. She goes, no, like this is, and again, I love her for this. She goes, this is an amazing opportunity. She goes, yeah, go. And she goes, your job is here when you get back. If you guys make it to the Grey Cup, we'll even come out to the game. Right. And so this is the Monday. I was in Vancouver Tuesday morning.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And it capped it with another Grey Cup. Capped it with another Grey Cup.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. Like, I didn't get much playing time as a receiver, but it was funny. So I did my wrap up year end with Wally. So we won the Grey Cup. It was a cool experience. Like, people don't know this, but I kind of took the same mindset as when I was in San Diego. And so I would run scout team. I would always try to take whoever like that top receiver was. And a lot of people don't know this. Mike Riley was the backup quarterback at that time. And so I would be working with Mike Riley. And I loved it. I remember telling people, man, like, this guy is going to be special. Like, it just, at that time, he wasn't even an afterthought, right? I forget who the quarterback, it was Travis Lule. But I just remember thinking, oh, this Mike Riley, he's something. And so we do our wrap up. We won the Grey Cup. Do my wrap up. I go in to see Wally, and I was just, hey, Wally, much. And he knew, like, I love Wally, man. I was just like, I really appreciate you. He goes, Ryan, no. He goes, thank you. He goes, do you ever stop and ask yourself why I called you? Because at the time, I was young. I wasn't the spring chicken, and I was coming off of a 2 years before. And I was like, well, no. He goes, who came and picked you up at the airport at 5 a.m. in Vancouver when you landed? I was like, G-Roy. He goes, how many people did you stop and see before you actually made your way up to see me when you got to the facility? And I worked my way through the whole complex, from the equipment manager, the trainers, ushers, to everybody. Worked my way through it. I think I took like an hour and a half before I got to see Wally. He goes, it wasn't so much about like the game, it was the veteran presence. You're always one of those guys that brings like a calming feel to a group. I knew that if we were to put you in, we wouldn't have an issue with you as a cancer or anything like that. Like, it wasn't anything like that. You would bring some wisdom and some character, and you could show our young guys the right way to do things. And he goes, you ran scout team. Like, you were 35 years old. You never complained. Like, we blew the whistle. You're the first one there. Like, that's the kind of mindset that we wanted the guys to see. So he goes, no, thank you. And that meant a lot. Like, that meant a lot coming from Wally. And so, yeah, it was quite the experience. I love that. Again, I kind of tell people I kind of fell into that Grey Cup because I wasn't there for the full time, but nonetheless, it was still pretty special to be a part of it.
Well, there's big reason why they brought you in there. Big reason for that. So that was pretty cool and deserving of it too. Not too many guys can say they won 3 Grey Cups. Very few can say that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So you called it a career, and you were inducted into the London Sports Hall of Fame a few years back. Exciting time for your family.
Yes.
We have a shot here of you with the gang, and I think the gang has grown since then, has it not?
They've grown, and I've actually added one more since then. So yes, we've grown.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So tell us
anybody that,
how about. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Tell us about the family. Tell us about the family now. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So anybody who knows me knows, like, my family is the most important thing in my life, and that's how it should be. It's family first. And so my oldest daughter is now, she's 22. Her name is Amari. My second daughter, Ryan, she is 18. So we're pretty excited. She just got accepted into Carleton. So we're pretty excited about that. My son, Grayson, he is going into high school next year, but he's not a football player. He's a volleyball player. and he's done very well. Like so I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'2". He's probably a little bit taller than me. He plays club volleyball team for a team in Ottawa. They went to nationals in Edmonton this year. They went in, so there's probably about 160 teams. They went in ranked 9th and finished 4th in the country, which was pretty cool. So he's again, he's a young kid. He loves volleyball, and so that's his path. And then we have an 8-year-old. Her name is Cameron, and I always say she wasn't planned, but she's been a blessing. So and again, my wife Elizabeth, who's always been, she's a rock of our family, and so I feel I'm pretty lucky.
Blessed, Dave. Blessed for sure. And your career wrapped up in Calgary, wrapped up in BC, but you were living in Calgary at the time, and you went to work as National Director of Business Development for DKI Canada, sponsor of the show. Tell us about your job, the company, why you decided to stick around.
So it was interesting. It's as a football player, we always think that we're going to play forever, and we don't think about life after football. But for me, again, my perception was it's different. When I went to Calgary, I was thinking about life after football, and I'm not going to lie, Joe, it was pretty challenging. I didn't initially sign on with DKI. I kind of bounced around with a few jobs, and it was tough, right? I went from playing professional football for years. You always kind of had an understanding of where you were. And the thing with football is everything's pretty regimented and scheduled. You're told where to be for meeting times, where to eat. Like everything's pretty structured for you. And so you had to learn how to structure your life. After being told how to do it. So the transition period was tough for me. Again, I'm always up for a challenge, and so I ended up signing or getting a job with DKI. It was Rocky Cross Construction North at the time, DKI, as just a business development manager. I didn't know anything about the industry, didn't know anything about restoration, but I felt like my timing was good because I was just coming in when that flood hit in 2013.
Right.
And so I got thrown into the deep end right away and learned pretty quickly about what our industry was all about. And so it was pretty cool. I love my time at Rocky Cross. There's Calgary. There was an opportunity for ownership out here in Eastern Ontario, which was in Hawkesbury and Cornwall. So we decided to give it a go. My family and I moved to Ottawa a little over a year and a half ago. So my whole thought process with that was like taking that next step. I also gave me an opportunity to be closer to my family. I moved away in 1994 to go to Minnesota. My mom and dad were still in the London area. They're in St. Thomas. My siblings were in London, Mississauga. So now I was closer. I look at it this way, though, is now a drive. It's not a flight for me to go see them. And with 6 of us, it was expensive. So we didn't get to see them as much as we would have liked. So that was a big part of it. I started in with the new role. I had an opportunity to work with corporate on a national level as well, which was pretty cool. And it was an easy transition for me because I had spent all those years with DKI Rocky Cross, now DKI Calgary. And so I understood understood the industry. I had a chance to spend time with a lot of the owners. We have over 75 plus locations across the country. So I had a chance to get to know everybody. And it really was a family. It was a family feel. And so it just made it for an easy transition when I joined the national team as national director of business development. And so I've just been running with it ever since. Yeah.
Speaking of family, you're with the family in Durham Regency, RCS right now.
I am
doing the show on the way from Toronto out to Ottawa.
Yes.
So like, good, cool, very cool. I know you guys.
I know you know the team. Yeah,
I know the team for sure. Yeah, I know their gang. And, that's awesome.
I've got to give them their credit. They are the innovators for our group as a whole. DKI, like they're the standard bearers, are always forward thinking. We take a lot of, and I know a lot of our locations across the country look to them, look to what they're doing, look to the way they operate, and they try to incorporate and take something from them. And so whenever I get a chance to pop in, I always pop in to say hello. Like love seeing the boys. I consider them family. It's not one of those where it's a handshake, just big bear hugs. Joe, I was talking to you. I texted. People don't know I texted Joe. I was driving, and I was like, Joe, I might have to do this from the car. And so I figured, you know what? Let me kill two birds with one stone. I'll pop in to see the boys, and we can do the call as well.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. Yeah. Tell me about that. That's awesome. Okay. So DKI is sponsor of the CFL, which is, I'm guessing you had something to do with that. And now that, your Stampeders are having a pretty good season, after, it's been a while since they were doing this well. Tough home loss recently against Montreal, but they're still neck and neck with Saskatchewan and who they beat recently. And Vernon Adams Jr. leads the league in passing yards. He's having a great season. Have they got what it takes to win the Grey Cup?
Yes, they do. They just had to retool. It's one of those where I think CFL fans in general, they have short memories. And up until last year, I think they had. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but had gone a certain number of years without missing the playoffs. And you look from 2008 all the way through till, let's say 2013, 14, maybe even to 2015, they're always one of the powerhouses in the league, not just in the West, right? And so the last couple of years, it's been a bit of a transition. They lost Bo Levi Mitchell. I knew once they brought in Vernon Adams and they made a few changes, again, knowing how Dave operates, he's a smart guy. If you have a smart quarterback who knows how to operate within Dave's system, they're going to be successful. And so I knew it was only a matter of time before they'd be able to turn things around. And I do consider them the class of the West. You look at a lot of the coaches that are in the league right now, with Corey Mace being one of them. He's a Dave Dickinson guy. He came from the Calgary Stampeders, worked his way up to get Montreal, not Montreal, Toronto. You look at a lot of these coaches throughout the league, they came from Dave's program, right? And so, again, I knew it was only a matter of time, and I expect them to be in the Grey Cup this year.
They're looking forward to that. Your other former team, the Lions, bit of a shaky start, but Nathan Rourke back appears to be healthy. This is the kind of play that this guy can make. The Riders thought they had the sack, but he shakes himself loose, gets away, fires a dart deep for Aiden Eberhardt. How good is this guy, Rourke, and Canadian too, right?
It's absolutely amazing to watch this guy play. And I'm a big believer. I was like, throw those passports out. Like, the best players should play, right? And it's funny, whenever people speak to Nathan Rourke, they bring up the fact. It's almost like, oh, he's such a great player, and he's Canadian. Like, to me, it's just like, no, he's a great player. To me, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The BC Lions, they're lucky to have him. He just transcends, right? He's smart, he's physical, he's fast, he knows how to read the game really well. Again, they've got a very, very explosive offense. I know right now it's kind of they're kind of been off to a rocky start, but again, Buck Pierce is just trying to find his way, and Buck is a Wally guy, right? He came from BC. I played with Buck, right? Great player, great coach. I think it's only a matter of time before they take that next step. And they've got a great leader. Like, they got with Nathan there, it's only up. I only see great things for them. So it's only a matter of time before they're going to be up there, and it's going to be Calgary and BC challenging each other for primacy in the West.
And then who do you like in the East?
Oh, my goodness. Do you know what? I've got to say the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I love what they're doing. As an offense, they're so fun to watch. They're
right.
explosive. I think Bo Levi, I think people wrote him off after he left. He left Calgary, and he's been nicked up, but the last couple of years he's looked great. He's looked like the old Bo of the old, and offensively, I think they're very explosive. I know Brent Monson, who is a defensive coordinator there from his time in Calgary. I tell you, a lot of Calgary roots too, right? So they brought him in here. He's a great defensive coordinator. I feel like they're going to be they've got the full package as a team. Again, Montreal, they're great. They've got some great talent there. They've got a great coach. They're always going to be there, like neck and neck. This year is going to be Hamilton's year, coming out of the East.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That defense is phenomenal too. So, okay, you played both leagues. Which league is more fun to play in? Which league is more fun to watch? NFL, CFL.
Easy. CFL all the way. I love the game. I get a lot of people. I meet a lot of people that always say, "Oh yeah, CFL. It's like second tier, and I prefer the NFL." And I get it. The NFL is big money. It's a lot of gambling. There's a lot of fantasy football. It's all massive. But from my experience, it was just I had a great time. I had a great time playing in the CFL. Again, I've met some amazing people that I consider family now. And I love the game for that. I don't know if you've ever, and I'm pretty sure you have, had an opportunity to attend the Grey Cup. Compare a Grey Cup to a Super Bowl. It's just a different feel. Like if you're a fan at the Super Bowl, they have tons of stuff going on, but I find access to the players and the parties, it's tough, right? You've got to be, it's more geared to executives, and it's just a different feel when you're there. And you go to the Grey Cup, it's a party, right? And the players are accessible. They make it all inclusive. It's the league understands that it's the fans that make the league what it is, and they develop the way that they set up the Grey Cup, the festivities, the build up to the game. It's about bringing the fans in, making them a part of it. And, each CFL team will host, they have their own events, and they set up at hotels. I believe the Atlantic Schooners, they've never played a game, but I feel they have a group that still go out. And so it's just fun. And I know this year as an organization, we're going to look to go out, bring some of our clients out. We want them to experience it. Again, I love the league. I love the game, and as much I'll take every opportunity I can to share it and have them be a part of it, so they can have that enjoyment too. So yeah, we love it. That's the no-brainer. That's the easiest question you've asked me today.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. A lot more fun to watch any CFL game than a lot of it. Well, there's a good NFL game too. Good NFL games too, but you're pretty much guaranteed to always see a good game in the CFL. Yeah,
I love the NFL. Don't get me wrong. It's if I can, I do watch it. I watch a lot of the NFL, but how often in the league you get a chance to see a team down 20 points with like 4 minutes left, and you're not safe.
It's
that
not
league
over.
is not safe.
It's not over.
It's not over.
CFL, no, for sure.
The way they've got the game flow. To me, it's a lot more exciting to watch.
Right. So, okay, final question. We're partnered with a group called Believe, Become, Be You, a mentorship program for kids from 10 to 17, inspired by the late Sean Gindy, led by Papa Jack Gindy. What's a message that you would have for any kids who might be struggling to find their way in today's world?
That's such a great question. I was actually having a conversation with my sister about that. And today's world is so much tougher than when we were coming up. Like there's so many different just challenges that these kids face today. And if I was to give a word of advice, and it's tough because again, different world, like different times, put down those phones. I know it's easy for me to say, put down those phones, get out and interact. I feel like the art of conversation is being lost. I try to tell my kids, like, don't text, call, have a conversation with somebody. I think it just allows you I don't even know how the right way to say this. With people, it's lost, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the right words.
Well, I think communicating at a heart level as opposed to the text, which can be misconstrued as to what the meaning is, but when you're talking to somebody, you know if it's the language of the heart, you can hear that, right? So
yeah, you can look at them face to face, read body language. Shake hands, give a hug like I do to the guys here at CRCS. It goes a long way, and I try to instill that in my kids. I feel like that's important, and it's tough because, again, like I was saying, that's today's world. Everything's technology. It's only going to get worse. But if you can put the phone down, I feel like that contributes to mental health with these kids today. What you see online, that's not the real world that we live in. People want you to see, they only show you what they want you to see. They don't show you the struggles behind it. And I feel like our kids set their expectations based on what they see online, and it's just not the real world, right? So put your phones down, go have a coffee with somebody, sit down with them face to face. Use your imagination. I feel like that's lost art now, right? Yeah. Get out, play games, go play pickleball, go play basketball, get some exercise, and put those electronics away. So if I could share a word of advice with kids today, that would be it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for taking this time to join us. When we come back, you mentioned that legendary pep talk you had from John Huffnagel. We've got Mike Pinball Clemens talking to the troops. Stay with us. In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than four walls. A business is more than a building. And recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Hearing loss doesn't have to mean missing out. At Hear Canada, we help you take charge with a complimentary hearing assessment, because confidence starts with clarity. Discover hearing aids, accessories, and expert care at your local hearing center. Not sure where to start? Our Hearing Health Guide has the basics for you or a loved one. It worked for us. Book your free assessment today at hearcanada.com. Conditions may apply. After your playing career, you become a coach, and a very successful one. We have to play it. This is your famous pregame speech before the 2004 Grey Cup. Vic, let's roll that.
Guys, I think myself as a rational man. A guy who understands perspective about life and what's important. Part of it is this. It's when you truly care about somebody and you're willing to work together with them and you really, truly willing to do it, not just for your own good, but for their good first. When you think about somebody else first, they truly become family. Who are we? Family. Who are we? Family. Who are we? Family. Now, when we go out there today, we've been talking about playing at another level. We've been talking about being dominant. And you know even why we've been dominant in the last few weeks? What's the word? What's the word? That you got to hit somebody in this game. That's why we've been dominant. Now, when we go out there today, there's going to be a bigger audience that's ever seen football in this entire country in history. It's the biggest crowd ever. Now we got a chance to do what we talked about. We're talking about playing this game at a level that nobody in any league, anywhere has ever played this game. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Now, when guys are watching in Calgary today, when they're watching in Calgary today, I want them to call up the season ticket line. Say, listen, I've never seen anybody play the game like this. If I gotta fly from Calgary, I'll do it. What's the word? What's the word? Guys, let's go out there today as a family and get it done from the first whistle to the last. Who are we? Who are we? Win on three. 1, 2, 3.
So tell me, you guys went out and won the game. You can see the emotion and you can hear it in your voice. I mean, that was real, man. But tell me, did you have an idea what you wanted to say, or did you just go out there and ad-lib it, let it flow?
That dude's crazy.
Yeah.
I think you try to have a little bit of an idea, but it never stays on course, right? So you start and something takes over, and I'm not sure who that guy was in me, but I'm glad I got him out of me.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcasts from. Also, check out all the latest shows on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. Clips, shorts, like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Our socials at Joe Swiss Tilley on Instagram and Threads, and Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook. Once again, thanks to Ryan Thelwell for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. I'm Joe Tilley, and this fall I want you to join me for the adventure of a lifetime in Peru. We're talking about a 9-day guided journey through some of the most awe-inspiring sights on Earth, starting at just $19.99. We'll explore Lima, Peru's lively capital. You'll experience rich history, beautiful architecture, and world-class cuisine. You'll also wander the vibrant streets of Cusco, where Inca heritage blends seamlessly with colonial charm, and visit the stunning Sacred Valley, known for its dramatic landscapes, ancient Inca ruins, and charming traditional villages. And the big moment? We'll ride the scenic Inca train to spend a night in Machu Picchu village, waking up early to witness a magical morning light over the ancient citadel, a once-in-a-lifetime experience you'll never forget. Craving more? Extend your trip with a stay at a luxury Amazon lodge, or visit Lake Titicaca and meet the locals on the floating islands. This all-inclusive package covers international and domestic flights, expert guided tours, entrance fees, and stays at hand-picked hotels. And here's the kicker. Book now to receive a free upgrade to first-class boutique-style hotels and a direct flight from Toronto on selected dates. Don't miss it. Let's discover the magic of Peru together. Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com.